And here's the truth, like, so we're approaching this a little differently because usually it's like 4 steps when we work with our clients. It's concept. So that's where we come up with like a visual and we're trying to feel out the client. Like, what does this client really want? Often our client doesn't know. Everyone thinks they want a saltwater reef aquarium because obviously that's awesome. It's amazing. It's incredible. It's colorful. It's luxurious. But then when I start to make them realize, it's very expensive. You got to learn a lot, or otherwise you're paying for us to come do it, and that's $200 an hour every week, and that obviously adds up fast. And let's not even talk about salt water, right? We need to use salt water, so we need to be able to store X amount of gallons of salt water in a vessel next to the aquarium, in addition to so all these things make people quickly realize, like, initially what they wanted isn't what they wanted. So, like, concept is like figuring out, getting into the mind of the client, really understanding their lifestyle and figuring out what aquarium is going to work with that lifestyle, right? And that is like a big part of making sure it's a successful project long term and it's a successful installation long term, because I've had it happen to me. People, I think, biting off more than they can chew and not realizing that even with professional help, things cannot, we don't guarantee perfection. Things cannot be perfect. I often equate it to like having a child. When you birth a child, you can throw a ton, like, look, and it's a really good analogy because there's the kid who grows up in the low-income home and has public education and, grows up to be an amazing entrepreneur and changes the world. And then there's the kid who gets every private education and tutor he could possibly afford and has everything thrown at it and turns out to be a drug addict, right? Yeah. It doesn't matter how much money you put into this aquarium. Like, if you don't care about this aquarium, if you don't invest into this aquarium your time and love and energy beyond just throwing money at it often, like, it won't pan out to be a beautiful reef aquarium. Either, like, you got to learn and accept that you're going to put a lot of effort in it, or you're going to pay for someone to give that down. And, like, it's like paying a nanny, right? Like, which is serious. Like, they get paid good money. Yeah. Like, nannies get paid good money to care for the children of parents. Like, caring for an aquarium is a similar level of responsibility and, like, challenge. And, like, I feel like it's a good analogy because, again, you can throw a lot of money at this and still not get success if you're not committed to this, seeing success happen or being able to pay for someone else to do that, right? Because there's a lot of unpredictable things. Again, the child analogy. I tell people, aquariums for that first year or two, they go through puberty, I say. Because despite our best efforts, despite all the test results showing the correct numbers, things are going weird. Ugly. You get ugly growths in the aquarium, like acne.
Came out of nowhere.
Yeah, and there's no good reason behind it often. Yeah. And it's just a phase on the stage of maturation of any complex biological system, whether a human or an aquarium. Yeah. That's what it is in the end. And so, I use the child analogy a lot, right? Because I really do believe it hits home with people. A lot of people can't relate to the challenges and, like, the frame of mind you need to be in for these aquariums because they've never had a serious hobby even. Most people haven't even had a serious hobby, truly. Yeah. But a lot of people have had a kid, and they can really relate to the challenges of that and how there's no book or manual that tells you how to raise a child. It's a very personal, it's a journey. And an aquarium is that. And because of that, honestly, what I'm saying is intense, right? This is not for everyone. And look, you can approach aquarium keeping very casually, but you'll have a very basic, very watered down type of aquarium, right? Yeah. And that's fine, and that's cool. And that can still bring a lot of enjoyment, and, like, don't get me wrong, there's a place for that.
Yeah. Which is where I am right now.
But, like, if you really want those amazing reef tanks, those plant tanks, those impeccable, beautiful tanks, like, those guys work for that. And it's like a garden too. I use the garden analogy a lot because people can often relate to that much better. The more you tend to your garden, the more manicured it's going to look and the less weeds will be able to take over. But if you do not work on your garden for a year or a season or two, chaos will take over. And that it's verging towards chaos always. And your gardening is attempting to tame the chaos and reverse the chaos in essence, or at least tame it, really, is what you're doing. And managing the chaos is what you're doing. So it's like gardening, and a lot of people can relate to that, but too, a lot of people give up on gardening very fast. A lot of people know, oh, I killed a plant and I gave up. Like, it's not for everyone. And like, I'm serious here. This is where our business again is different. I'm serious about conveying this challenge, this mindset that you need to be in to do well in this hobby. And upfront saying, I know I'm going to scare away a lot of potential customers and a lot of sales. And I'm okay with that, because I want people who are in it for the long haul, and people who realize that this is a journey and it's going to be a struggle, and that's what makes it beautiful. That really is what makes it beautiful and so satisfying in the end. And I think as you as an aquarium keeper, you know, and you can appreciate that, right? Like when you really do finally achieve like a beautiful balanced aquarium, it's so damn satisfying, because it's not that easy. And like, I want to upfront, I want the customer I'm working with, I want to tell them this. And I can't honestly tell every customer this. That's why it has to get down on video somehow, this message. But I'm telling you, it's not a message that exists out there.
Yeah.
And it should. It really should, because, again, we do people a disservice to tell them, oh, it's going to be easy. Yeah, buy this aquarium, get into this hobby, throw money. And they really don't know what they're in for. And they really didn't have the personality for it. That's truly it. So, all of this, why am I telling you this, is like concept. I was going back to the like our process for getting it installed. Like, but this is why this, you know, getting to the client head and helping our client understand aquariums, the essence of aquariums, and like really what is involved sometimes, and using all these analogies gets people to realize, okay, what are they up for here? Do they really want to go all in for a reef tank and get committed? And I have clients who still want to do it even after being told all that. Usually they came to me already with a diehard passion for reef aquariums, right? I didn't have to convince them to do that. But often, you know, we get people to opt for something more low maintenance, freshwater, artificial, less gallonage. That's another big one. People think they want this huge thing. And when I tell them, okay, but do you realize I'm gonna have to dive into that to clean the algae off the corner? And that means your maintenance bill is gonna probably be like $500 every visit. They quickly change their mind, right? Or are you going to do that is the question, right? Someone's got to do it. Who's going to do it? Are you going to do it? Maybe maybe the notion of that is awesome, and they're like, let's go, right? All right, let's go, right? But a lot of people don't realize that, and they're quickly brought back to earth, right? So to say. And so the concept phase is doing that, and then once we have a mutual understanding of really what they want and what their budget's going to allow for and their lifestyle allow for, this is really, I think this conversation I'm having ought to get captured, because when clients see that we care about this process and doing this, like, and when they understand why we do this, like, it makes so much sense, and they trust us so much more now, right? They trust us so much more, because dude, I'm telling you, dude, I walk into so many aquariums, people were sold things that they were just frankly not prepared for. And like, it's frankly sad, because they're not willing to, even when they bring us in, often they're not willing to put in the work to really make, you know, reach its potential. So it just ends up this sad fucking tank in their home that costs them tons of money and it leaves a really poor taste in everyone's mouth. You know, it really does us a disservice as an industry for installers to do that. You know, it sucks. So